many people play the violin this way, with a crack at the bottom of the tip. This is one of the things that makes this Russian technique, or technique inspired by Leopold Auer, different. Here I am with about 2 or 3 inches to spare at the tip, and I have used my shoulder hinge and my elbow hinge to get most of the way. I do not want to continue with my elbow, and I will show you why. Because if I continue with my elbow, then I'm going to get a crack in my wrist that pushes the bow away. And as we discussed in the first lesson, the weight will stop here. The weight will stop right here and will not be able to transfer through the stick. The water flows through the stick. If it cracks at the bottom, it cannot flow through the stick. I understand many people play the violin this way, with a crack at the bottom of the tip. This is one of the things that makes this Russian technique, or technique inspired by Leopold Auer, different. As I've studied both techniques, I can give you a little bit of a comparison. So when I was studying Franco-Belgian technique, my teacher had this crack in the wrist when you get to the tip, and it was to such an extreme that my teacher would have me flip the stick all the way over. So my stick was doing sort of almost a 45-degree flip. And so the tone sounds like this. And I don't prefer this way. I didn't like it at the time, and I don't like it now. Now I understand why. Is because there's no security that can come from flipping. It's a very light sound, and it actually causes that sound to disappear. So if you have a tone that you're drawing, let's say it's a light tone, and you flip like this, then the sound is going to disappear. So shortly after I had studied with this Franco-Belgian teacher is when I made this switch to my teacher, who taught me this bow arm with the principles of the natural weight. And so when we get to the tip, we're no longer going to do any sort of crack in the wrist. We're going to try to keep it's going to feel very tall. Right now my wrist feels very tall, even though when I'm at the tip, it doesn't look tall, it looks flat. But this is tall and compared to this. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But it feels very tall because the fingers are still drooping off. So it feels very tall, my wrist does. And now which hinge would you think I should use to complete this bow? I still want to get all the way to the tip, and I want to be able to do it with as much arm weight as I please. So I'm not going to use my elbow, and I'm not going to use my wrist. I'm going to finish this bow stroke from my shoulder. And you can hear the difference. I should play something other than open strings for you. Okay, but you can hear the difference between this and this.